Hello, my name is Nell, and I have things to say about disability, chronic illness, and mental health. I live with all of these things, and here in my videos on my channel, I talk about them. I talk about my ups and my downs with complete honesty in the hopes that it'll benefit from somebody out there. If that sounds like something that interests you, I would love it if you would subscribe to this channel. Come back every Wednesday when I upload new videos. Let me know what you think of my videos in the comments section, and if you know of somebody else who would benefit from or enjoy one of my videos or the whole channel, please feel free to share a link with them. Today, I want to talk about the difficult process of buying and modifying a vehicle to use with my wheelchair, and the comparison of that to somebody who doesn't use a wheelchair buying and using a vehicle. For somebody who is not a wheelchair user, buying a vehicle is pretty straightforward. You find something you like that is within your budget, that suits your lifestyle, and you buy it. You don't have to think about things like, how will I physically enter the vehicle? Because you do that the same way as you enter any vehicle. You open the door and you sit on the seat. It's straightforward. You usually have a very wide selection of vehicles within your price point because most vehicles are designed for your needs. You will rarely come up against a vehicle that doesn't fit you or that doesn't meet your needs in some way. There might be vehicles that don't suit your preference, but there will rarely be vehicles that don't suit your needs. And there are usually a whole lot of different vehicles within certain price points. There's something to suit everybody. The experience for somebody who uses a wheelchair is vastly different. Firstly, the actual act of getting into a vehicle is a lot more complicated because I require there to be a ramp or a hoist or a lift and straps and tie downs for me to actually get into and be secured into the vehicle. Some people with wheelchairs need to have slings or slides. So actually getting into the vehicle is one thing. Then the vehicle needs to be modified. The vehicle needs to be completely designed for my wheelchair. That's not an off-the-rack option. That needs to be a specifically designed vehicle. So when it comes to having a vehicle that I can use, it's a lot more complicated. It's not a matter of going to a car yard and being able to see something I like within my budget, within my price point, something that I like the look of and thinking that's the one I'll take it home. So I want to walk you through my process for getting a vehicle. And there are usually two options for when you need a modified vehicle. One is to get one that is already modified. Now, this can be the easiest option, but it's not always the best. When a vehicle is already modified, it might not suit your needs perfectly. And if you are on a funding program like the NDIS, if something is already modified, they might not be willing to modify it further. They might not be willing to fund further alterations, especially if the vehicle is past a certain age. I know with the NDIS, I think the cutoff was 3 or 5 years, and it had to be under a certain number of Ks. Past that, they are not going to either fund the vehicle itself or fund any further modifications. So if you're getting a vehicle that's already modified and is older, you're paying for it yourself. And these vehicles can be expensive. Modifying a vehicle is bloody expensive. So you don't get to shop around a whole lot for one in your price point. The pool of vehicles is already very small and the price is already very high. You don't get to choose around for one that you like the color of or one that you think, hey, that looks really sporty. I like that. That one looks really fun and sleek. I like that. No, you take what you're given. And if it's already modified, if there are certain things you don't like about it, you're kind of stuck with that unless you have the funds to alter it yourself. I chose to have mine custom modified to my needs because I wanted to make sure that it would suit me for the long run. I didn't want to have something that was kind of okay but not quite right and then be stuck with that for a really long time. So my process was to start with research. I had to do a lot of research. I researched things for a year, and I had to find out the kind of vehicle I needed, which would be large and expensive. Fortunately, I had financial help to purchase the vehicle because somebody knew that I had this need and was able to support me in that way. Then I had a preliminary assessment to apply for the funds to have the full car assessment. Because with the NDIS, they won't just give you all this money for funding. They will require you to show that you need further funding. So I had to get an assessment to say, I need an assessment. So that happened. Then it was 6 months of assessments with a vehicle OT who specializes in this. So he would come out and assess me and my needs, and then he would talk to a vehicle modifier and see what they would do, and back and forth for 6 months. So I sent in this assessment. That was knocked back. I'd been asking to be in the front passenger seat. I wanted to be next to the driver for the first time in 12 years. I wanted to be able to talk to the driver. I wanted to be able to get drive through McDonald's and actually sit and chat with the driver. I wanted to be able to go on a road trip with my partner and talk to him the whole way. I wanted to be able to change the radio and look out the window and wind down the window and just be an adult in a car again. That was not seen as reasonable or necessary by the NDIS. It was also going to cost an extra 30 grand somehow. I don't know how putting me in that different part of the car was going to cost so much extra, but me having that experience was not seen as reasonable and necessary. On the paperwork, they said that they were not there to enrich my life experience. They were there to just meet my basic needs. So that was very clear. So we had to get more assessments. So another month of those assessments being reassessed to put me just behind the driver's seat. So we had to apply for those. Once they were approved, it went on to the modification company. Now their launch time, which is the time you wait before actually getting onto the line, used to be 9 months, and then COVID happened, which bumped it up to 12 months. So we were put on last September, so we're waiting until this September before our car starts to get modified. And then once it starts to get modified, it can take from anywhere from 12 to 16 weeks. Meanwhile, I bought the vehicle in February last year, and I've been paying insurance on it, on a big vehicle. The NDIS doesn't cover insurance. That's me. I've been paying insurance on it for this whole time. I can't use the vehicle. We have to just drive it a couple of times a week to keep the battery going. I can't use it. But I had to buy the vehicle before going through this process because I had to prove that I had a vehicle for them to modify. So the NDIS makes you have a vehicle that sits there before they say that they're going to modify anything. I do have a wheelchair vehicle that I get around in now. However, my good wheelchair that I use every day doesn't fit in that. So every time I travel, I have to get into my old wheelchair, which is shorter, which is, more compact and very, very uncomfortable. In that old wheelchair vehicle, which is 23 years old, something like that, maybe 15, 20 years old, the straps don't retract. So sometimes when we go around corners, my wheelchair moves. It's unsafe. It is a health risk. I'm terrified every time we travel in that. Whenever we do long trips, we actually have to hire a vehicle because it's not safe to travel in my other vehicle. That's the thing. If you're a non-disabled person and you don't have access to your own vehicle, you can just borrow somebody else's. I can't do that. Because I can't just open the door and sit in a vehicle. It's a huge contrast. And I don't think people are as aware of it as they need to be. 12 months to wait before my vehicle is modified. 12 months. It's crazy. But, it's only another 6 months to go, I think. So, getting there. But me sitting in the front seat next to my partner was not reasonable or necessary. So that's sad. Anyway, I just wanted to raise awareness about this because it is an interesting experience. That's all for this one. Thank you so much for watching. Please check out my Instagram and my TikTok. We have fun there. All right. Bless.